So I'm putting in the Plaster Fabric, which is just a fabric that I made myself with some plaster that I bought. And I made sure to put down a drop cloth so I don't get plaster everywhere, because this stuff is gonna drip all over the place. I'm just using masking tape all over to hold it in place. Now you can see all the different plateaus and stuff. I really tried to get those to pop out, and the little driving path, and right here is where the little house is going to go, and the mountains, and there's the river that'll be filled with the epoxy, and some other little plateaus and things, and some tunnels, kind of make it interesting. One thing is, this is done in 3 pieces, like all the way across the mountains, and then this river, and then the other side of the mountains is continuous, and then these plateaus are 2 separate pieces. But yeah, this is quite a mess, and it's a lot of work, really. And now I'm just waiting for it to dry, and it's all goopy and transparent. And so I just used all-purpose joint compound, which is like a plaster. It's in like a semi-liquid form, like a gel, more of a paste really. So I just scooped up big globs of this while wearing gloves, of course. You don't want this stuff on your hand. It'll dry the heck out of your hands. And just put it in this bucket with a little bit of water, because a little bit goes a long ways. And mixed it up until it was ready to go, and then put the cloth in there, and then just draped it over and worked it into the form that I want. I'm getting some pretty good effects on here with dry brushing on this road here, and it's starting to look pretty good. So like right here, I dry brushed on brown, and then before the brown was all the way dry, I started dry brushing on some white. When it's fully dry, I'll dry brush like some real highlights in there to kind of give like some snowdrift effects through kind of a muddy dirt road. And so it's working out pretty good. It's making it look a little more interesting. Okay, and so here's the results I ended up with for this little town right here, Bedford Falls, for the It's a Wonderful Life. And this is actually 8 foot, so it's 2 foot deep and 3 foot high and 8 foot wide, so that's actually quite a large section. Now there's the river running underneath them. Which is clear epoxy, and I believe it's hard by now. I put some peat moss in there, and it looks pretty good. You know, it's clear and kind of swampy looking, really. One thing about it is this was 2 pints of epoxy, and strange enough, you know, that's all I got out of it, which is not very much. It was a lot of epoxy, and it's not because it dried up and receded, it just didn't go very far. You know, each box is like 20 bucks, so you'd probably need like 40 bucks worth, really. But you know, I'm happy with it just being a little stream, although it would have been cool if I could have put some down in there and other places and really made this river go all over the place. As far as damming it up, I just put a piece of glass right there and used that as a dam, and it seems to have worked out pretty well. And I just used some putty to hold that in place. Also, as far as fumes from the epoxy, I was really worried about there being these massive ether fumes coming off of it or something, but really I didn't notice any fumes at all, which I was really surprised about. I think it's acetone, and you can hardly smell it, but if you are around it for very long, like if you were in a closed space with the acetone, working with it for like maybe half an hour, you'd probably have a headache. You wouldn't realize you were smelling anything, but it would really mess you up. So just be aware that if it's outdoors, I wouldn't even worry about it. Indoors, I wouldn't do it at all. Definitely do this outdoors. But yeah, just be aware that you're probably not going to smell the acetone fumes, but if you're not careful, it will affect you. Also, it's a little hard to see, but I did put green dry brushing up near the top of the mountains, and then lower I put brown dry brushing, and of course the road is some brown dry brush. And on these side parts right here, I tried using blue and thought it would look icy, but it actually looked horrible. So I put in brown dry brush, and actually it looks great. And here you can see along the riverbank beds and clear along the bottom, I used brown and then green, kind of a mossy grayed out green, and then some white. Okay, so now you can probably see all this detail I put into here with the different colors a little better. And so, and get a good look at that gel. That's pretty good. I'm afraid to touch it. I'm like, I don't know if it's dry or not. Also, this gel, because I'm operating this with the black lights, this gel has this strange thing of glowing green. And the plaster seems to be kind of a dark purple, and then white paint is like a real solid purple. So it all actually works out and looks really good in the end, but it's just that you can never tell what kind of colors you're going to end up with once that black light comes on. So luckily with the paint and everything, it looks great under a black light, and it looks really good like this too. Okay, so they say this will be hard within 24 hours, and to be completely cured, first 72 hours I think it is, they want you to not touch it or have any dust on it, and I probably should have paid attention to that. They put this little teeny back of a fingerprint down there. Now it's there forever. Oh well. I guess I'll wait a couple more days and then touch it again and find out what it's like.